I'm making falafel. In this mixture is split fava, onions, green onion, parsley, chickpea, and that's it. The bad part is when you're making falafel is that your grinder can get stuck. It's always annoying. You kind of have to work it. So in this mixture is split fava, chickpeas that have been soaking about 30 days with regular water changes in the refrigerator, parsley, garlic, green onion, whites only, about 1 large onion and a little, and 5 cloves of garlic. So I think I'm gonna have to disassemble this just to get the last little bit out. So it's really noisy. All right, fava makes it really, the fava and the chickpea kind of thicken it. So anyways, I'm making falafel. I'm gonna make the pitas in a bit. When you're grinding something like parsley in a grinder and you're using the stems, this is what happens. This is not going to go in there. This is kind of what I peeled off. It can get really stringy, and that's what really clogs up the grinding machine, your dyes. I was actually using a die, and if you don't know what a die is, it's the little holes. Like you pick the size holes that you want. This is called a die. What's pushed out, I was actually using a smaller one, and that was impossible. So it's possible after I grind this mixture, I might run it through a secondary die that's a little bit smaller, even though this seems really fine. But something to consider, you might want to use only only leaves when you're grinding something like parsley. And if you're using celery, make sure to kind of process it a little bit before you try running it through your grinder, or you could run into this. I think the best solution would just be to use leaves only. But to me, there's so much flavor in the stems, I like to throw a few in there. So, okay, almost done with this. I cleaned out the dye, that's what it looks like. And it was really, really stuck. So I'm glad. Now let's see how it works with the dye clean. Noise alert. There wasn't much left. That's it. I'm going to run it through one more time. Now I can tell that by the juiciness of what's coming out now, there's probably just a little bit of chickpea and fava wrapped around, let's say like the coil or the grinder in there. So I think I'm just going to disassemble it at this point, clean this whole thing out, and then run the whole thing through again. Maybe, maybe not. I know it's like, why is it maybe and maybe not? Because it looks good. I just don't want there to be any ungrounded pieces of chickpea or split fava, because when I fry them, they're fried from raw. I'm going to season this mixture, and I don't want any just big chunks of chickpea that are unprocessed, because that would not be fun to bite into. But it looks really smooth. I'm just going to clean out this, and then I'm going to start molding some favas. No, I'm not. Why do I keep calling it fava? I'm going to start molding some falafel, and I have a really cute little falafel mold. So it took me about 3 or 4 minutes, and I just completely washed out the whole thing. This is what was left inside of the base of my grinder, and I cleaned it all out. Now, some people may think this is too much work, but I never believe that. I think that I take great joy out of doing it, and if I'm gonna do it, it's nice to do it the right way, and it brings me a lot of joy. So some people might think it's messy and time consuming, and to you I say it might be for you, but I really enjoy cooking and all that's involved in it. It's prep, it's equipment, and everything else. So I'm gonna continue to grind the whole mixture again, and if need be, I will clean it all out again. Hopefully I won't need to, because now most of it is already done. So again, this is what was left inside of my grinder. I did add a little bit more of the other mix just because it wasn't enough to push it through. So we'll be back. Okay, that was it. I did not have to take it apart to run the mixture through, but now you see it's much lighter and fluffier. It looks great. I kept the die at the same size, the largest die that I have in for this particular grinder. Everybody, you know, you have your KitchenAid ones. There are so many good quality grinders out there. Find what works for you. But now that I was able to reprocess it, it's much more homogeneous, and the color is much more vibrant. It looks like it did a better job at processing the parsley and just giving it a generally uniform look. So yay to me. Now I'm going to season it with coriander and cumin, ground coriander and cumin, but first I have to toast my cumin and grind it. I already, and kind of revive my coriander by lightly toasting it as well. I'm gonna do that in my small baby molcajete. So here comes the next step. I'm not going to salt it or put anything else in it besides the seasoning, because I forgot I'm having burgers and fries tonight for dinner. So I'll make this mixture tomorrow. I'm gonna let it sit in the refrigerator overnight with the seasoning, and then tomorrow I will be adding my final seasonings, which will be my salt, my baking powder, and my baking soda. And I'll be making the pitas today to cook tomorrow. Okay, I'm grinding my spices in a small preheated cast iron pan. I have 2 teaspoons of organic whole cumin seeds, and I haven't put it in yet, but I'm gonna put in 1 tablespoon of already ground coriander once my cumin is fragrant and toasted. And I'm just gonna go on and do that. You should be blooming, toasting, and always refreshing your spices. It just gives it so much more depth of flavor, and it smells good, and it's fun. A lot of people don't like cumin, which is odd to me. There are very few flavors I don't enjoy. I love trying flavors from every country. Keep an eye on cumin. You don't want it to over toast. I'm just gonna go on in this way for maybe about another 30 seconds. And then I'm going to take the cumin out and turn the pot off, and then I'm gonna add my tablespoon of coriander and just let it bloom in the pan while I ground the cumin. And I'll show you when I start grinding the cumin in my cute little baby molcajete. Okay, which is just a little baby hand grinder. Okay, heat off. That's it. This doesn't need as much heat. And you know all your spices are done when you can smell them. And I can almost instantly smell this coriander. So this will be done very quickly. How cute is this? I'm just going to grind it. I have to not film because I need to use both hands. I just wanted to show you how adorable this little guy was. So I finished grinding my cumin. It's so cute. I like grinding my own spices. I know the spice I'm buying and the purpose I need it for. I know there's no fillers. Always try to use a good brand of spices and always toast them to bring out their fragrance. Okay, to start off my pitas, I'm going to add 1 packet. Right now I just have this Fleshman's Rapid Rise Instant Yeast. I'm gonna add it to 1.5 cups of water. And I believe each of these packets has 2.25 teaspoons of 2.25 teaspoons of yeast. And then I'm also gonna add 1 teaspoon of cane sugar. I mean, you know, roughly. And that's just gonna activate the yeast. I'll give that a stir in just a second because I want to use this teaspoon for my flour. So I'm gonna need 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of salt. It's hard to do it with one hand, but anyways, I'm gonna add, and I'm just gonna eyeball it because I know what a teaspoon is. 1 teaspoon of real salt. Now you can use, and that's to 4 cups of unbleached all-purpose flour. Now you can use bread flour, you can use any kind of salt you want. You do not normally put baking powder in pita. Sometimes I add it, sometimes I don't. Once you know the basics of any recipe, you can interchange everything you want to do. That's what makes it fun. And I'll probably never do the same recipe twice. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I would say 98% of the time I don't. Use the right tool for the job. Although this is gonna go and get mixed, you know, it's nice to just go ahead and give it a preliminary mix so that all of your ingredients blend. Okay, getting back to the yeast. Okay, I actually want to get a mini whisk for this. So, hold on. It's just to season our falafel mix. This is, like I said, this is 1 tablespoon of coriander. And I'll check it. I'll know by how it looks. Okay, I'm gonna add the rest of the coriander. And then the cumin goes next. Probably not gonna add as much of the cumin. That looks about right. This should be more coriander heavy in my opinion, but again, that's just me. This is for my family. And for myself, even if I was making it for somebody, like a client, I would still add the same ratio. Give it a smell. I think it could still use a little more cumin. You have to get into the habit of smelling and tasting your food. So I think this is going to be about, I would say, a teaspoon, maybe a heaping teaspoon of cumin and a level tablespoon of coriander for this size mix. I don't know how much chickpea or fava I put in because I actually had soaked them for a different purpose and I didn't end up making it. So now I turned it into falafel, which everybody loves. So now I'm going to wrap this up. I'm actually going to change its container, put it in an airtight container, and leave it in the refrigerator to marinate overnight. Okay, I took that opportunity to sort of clean up my workspace. Remember, always clean as you go. So I'm just going to blend my yeast with my warm water and just sort of let it activate. Let it activate. I also put my dough hook attachment in my KitchenAid. You could do this by hand. I do it by hand all the time. If you want a more tender pita, more like a fluffed out naan, I would do it by hand. The machine definitely, you know, it adds the gluten. So I'm gonna let this activate for maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes. You could do it now. It's gonna sit overnight, so I technically don't have to take this step, but I do want to make sure it's active and doing something. And then we're gonna add it into the machine and I'll bring you back at that point. Okay, the time has come. Adding my dry ingredients. And I'm going to, oh, I should have plugged it in. That would help. Okay, have no fear. Okay, here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna dribble in the yeast water little by little. Not a necessary step, but it's nice to not dump all of your flour, all of your liquid onto flour. And I'm in no rush. So if you are short on time, don't do this. So just talking about variations on like sugars or sweeteners. You know, you could also add different spices or flavorings to your pita if you want. The world is your oyster. And as the channel comes, you know, I load more videos to my channel, I'm going to show you some of those variations. I'm going to turn this up just a tiny little bit. Yikes. I had a timer set on my phone and it turned off my video. But I'm still adding, mixing as I go. The thing about pitas and all kinds of these breads that you want to sort of fluff up, that I have found, tortillas, is that the hydration has to be right. Or it doesn't create the steam at the time that you bake it, and it doesn't puff up. Judy, get over here. Here's my kitchen companion, Judith Faith. Judith, what are you doing? Get over here, Judith. You want kisses? Okay, while this is mixing, we'll take some time to say hello to my sweetness. To my big sweet girl. Did you have mackerel, water, and chicken? Did you, Judy? Okay, I'm just gonna let this go and go. It's very therapeutic. I do like watching this in real time. Once it starts kind of cleaning up the bowl, I'm pretty much done. So I'm going to turn this off. Like I said, this is going to rise overnight. And I don't particularly need overly tough, not tough, but chewy pita. Not, at least, or not for my application that I've got going on with my falafel. I prefer a more tender bite on mine. So I'm gonna wash my hands, and then I'm going to transfer the dough into an oiled bowl here. I'm gonna cover it and set it in my fridge. Okay. You little Judith, what are you doing? You don't like their art? What do you think of their art? Huh? What do you think of their art? Okay, in the words of the great Julia Child, with my impeccably clean hands, I dumped out the dough into an oil bowl. I just put a little bit of unfiltered olive oil. And Judith is getting into mischief. And that's it. I'm gonna cover it with some plastic wrap and put it in the fridge until overnight. And tomorrow I will get the hummus together and some toppings, and we're going to assemble, and it's going to be wonderful. I'm also going to add some additional spices to my falafel mix. Judith, let's see what Judith is up to. Well, I think I just effed this up. This was supposed to be my my pita. I left it for 2 days. Judith, get off the table. No, Judith. Oh my gosh. Judy, get down. Get down, Judy. Now I have to reshoot this, you brat. Judith, I said quiet on the set. Okay, remember the pitas that I was supposed to be making? Well, they sat in the oven in the refrigerator for 2 days, and I think I've just made some sourdough. I could smell slightly fermented taste. I don't know. Tastes a little sourdoughy. Maybe I invented something amazing. I do love sourdough. Well, anyway, I'm in it now. They just come out of the refrigerator and they're freaking like cold, soft marshmallows. So I'm just gonna let them warm up. I've got my pizza stone preheating in the oven at 500 degrees. And it's gonna take a while to get that sucker hot. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna let these rest and then we'll see what disaster I created. I might have to call my husband and tell him to pick up some pita. Because I've got a lot going on today. I don't think I'm gonna be able to whip up another batch. The best laid plans of mice and men to be continued. I think I'm gonna let these rest probably 15 minutes or so while my pizza stone heats up and also they're really cold, and then I'm going to shape them a bit. Maybe I'll record that part as well. I forgot to mention I'm gonna let them rest covered in plastic with a little extra flour. So there they are, all tucked in for bed. See you soon, my little angels. Boop. I decided not to shape them. I don't want to toughen them. It's experimental as it is. So I'm just going to roll these out, or one out, and then I couldn't find my pizza peel. It's starting to look like a crazy morning. Anyways, I'm just going to use my Wilton, my old Wilton cake lifter. I don't know. Anyways, all right. Unfortunately, I don't have a great camera setup, but just picture this, me rolling it out. Hey, maybe I can do it. Can she, oops. No, rats. All right, well, I'll show you once it's rolled out. Okay, I just rolled it out, and then now I'm going to slip it onto my cake lifter. And then I'm gonna pop it on my pizza stone. That's not perfectly round, but I think I will shape these. I mean, it's kind of hard to roll it out when it's in this kind of misshapen form. But since this is just a trial to see if it's even worth going through the process, I am not worried about it. Onto the pizza stone she goes. Okay, well, it's poofing a bit irregularly. It's only been 3 minutes. Check out my babies. They're all rolled out. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, and I definitely love you. Okay, you guys all hang out for a min. Rolled them out. See, once you manipulate any dough like this, and I've learned this through trial and error, believe that. Think you could take a shortcut. No, these things have to rest a good amount of time. I might even rest them 40 minutes because A, they're cold, and B, I've cut them, I've rolled them. Every time you manipulate a dough, you get the gluten going, and I really want them to tenderize and poof out. That can also inhibit rising when you're doing a pita and things like that. So you definitely want to let them go. These are a little bigger. These are going to be filled with the falafel. Some are small, some are big. I'm going to be baking them individually. There's only 6, and it's just going to be my husband and my daughter eating. So, and I don't have my pizza peel, and I'm not trying to burn my arms putting them into the oven on that pizza stone. So it'll be fine. See you later. Okay, love you. Boop. Okay, here's the taste test. When I opened it, it felt good. And putting it in that tortilla holder, you know, tenderizes it a bit. Okay, let me see. Okay. Good, great. Needs to rest. I'm gonna let these rest a good amount of time. The chewiness is perfect. I guess I was wrong with that initial fermentation issue I have. I'm gonna spread the last drop of hummus on there. Okay, I've let my babies rest for about 55 minutes. I was giving my dad popped in for a haircut. No, I am not good at giving haircuts, but it's fun and he doesn't mind. So that's it. These boards are really helpful. Excuse me. These boards are really helpful. Any little round thing, because you can kind of, you know, gauge the roundness. Not, you know, it's just a fun tool to have. This is like a little Indian thing. I got this so many years ago. I can't even tell you how or when or how to get something like this, but I see them all the time. They have really beautiful ones on Etsy's. Okay, I'm gonna put it again on my Wilton cake lifter and put it in the oven. Okay, so after just 2 minutes in this really hot oven, it's already poofing. That's what we want to see. Okay, so this is as much as I'm gonna do it. I know some people like to see their breads really browned. It has enough brown. I'm gonna have to reheat it again when I stuff it with the falafel, and I just don't want it to get all dried out. So it feels great. Oddly enough, 2 minutes is just perfect in my oven for what I want. That without the puff, you won't get the pocket. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. Okay, I just pulled out my last beautiful puffy pita. I'm just gonna let them rest in here so they stay tender. And then my next step is, working on the falafel. I need another one of these. Okay, it's time for me to get that falafel that I refrigerated. I tasted it and, you know, I pre-seasoned it very lightly, but I added a little bit more cumin and coriander. Of course, you can add caraway and basil. Have it your way. There are many, many variations, and to me, each and every one of them is wonderful, and you should experiment unless it's just a taste that's off-putting to you. But since I started with the cumin and the coriander, and I had some of that cumin that I had already toasted and ground, I also added to about a pint of my falafel mix, I added a tablespoon of baking powder, and I may just add a pinch of baking soda. I haven't yet. And I added about a teaspoon of coarse ground salt, just because I ran out of all my salts. I have to go salt shopping. So I added that, and I'm tasting it. A little piece fell off. I have a tasting spoon. Let's see. But anyways, look, it's you flavor it. That's the main thing. Okay, I'm gonna use a little tasting spoon here. Wow. Oh, that's delicious. Okay, I think I'm good. I have a lot of toppings. I made the pita. I made the tahini. Not the tahini, sorry, the tzatziki. And I just put whole yogurt in that, whole milk yogurt. And I'm going to do, I don't have any tahini. I have a little bit of Taiwanese sesame. I'm not sure if I'm going to use that. I may just like get a little spread, put it on the pita. I also have feta cheese, and also in that tzatziki, I have the cucumber, the yogurt, some fresh mint, some garlic, some lemon juice. So it's very tangy, and so I just want this to be well flavored, which it is. And then I'm going to do a couple of test samples. What I need you guys to do immediately is get one of these. I know people do it by hand and get a this and a that and the third. Please, I bought mines many years ago, so I wouldn't know how for you to get yours. But trust, just put falafel kit. This works. It's not. I mean, look, it's kind of falling apart, but it looks great.
All you need this to do is to shape it, and then you've got this perfect little thing, and it's also the spatula for when you're gonna pick it up. So I've got this little board just because I don't have any counter space, so I just use this as an extension sometimes. And I also have like a little, my kitchen looks like Sanford and Son right now, so I'm just trying to kind of move some stuff around. But anyway, I'm just using this little board. It's not a big deal. I'm going to do a few samples. I have some avocado oil heating in a pan, and I'm just going to make up 1 or 2 just to see how they fry up. And then I'm going to reserve this for when everybody gets home. Well, everybody meaning my husband and my daughter. And then fry them up and assemble my pitas. And then make my falafel. So delicious. Oh, I'm also gonna add some pickled jalapeno to it, which I bought them whole in the can. I normally like to make my own, but I didn't, and I needed it for last night's meal. I made arroz con pollo, and then my husband brought them home with just whole. So I'm just gonna slice them up thinly and add a little bit of that pickle juice to my tzatziki. So just make it work, people. Look, everything is delicious, okay? And everything is fusion. So this is it. This is going to be my prep station for now. To be continued. I can't wait. I love making these. It's so fun. Kids, don't try this at home. Normally I would make a ton of them and just, have them going in the pot. But like I said, I just want to do a sample or 2 to make sure that it's even. I'll probably just do 2 and see how they go. Okay, get this handy dandy tool, or I don't know what. You need to go, run, don't walk to get one. Okay, I made 3. I wanted to see how. Brown one a little bit more, brown some less, see how they do, how they hold up. I still have time. Don't experiment on your guests. Please, please don't. I know a lot of people are like, oh, let me surprise you with a dish I'm trying. Try not to. Really. And always use the right tool for the job. So anyways, I have this little guy waiting here. For me right now, a fork is the right tool for the job, but I do have a little spatula should I have needed it. Sometimes I just want the oil to drain really quickly, and these are pretty small. I turn down the heat just a little to make sure that the inside is cooking. First little guy. Get in here. I got your blankie ready for you. Okay, these little guys, let's see. Turn the heat up just a little. Turn your oil up when you're molding these. People don't give themselves enough time. Oil takes a good long time to heat. So it's not the time when you're about to, put them out. It's better to just let them sit for a minute at room temperature while you're getting the oil heated, but try to do it with some anticipation. Okay, another thing is whenever you're frying food, don't let it sit. You can let it sit initially just to catch some of that prelim oil on a paper towel, but that adds to sogginess. This is kind of a crispy mixture, but like chicken or anything like that you're frying, just, if you want to dab it on, and I prefer using like a butcher's style type paper, because it's just more absorbent without giving you that sort of steaming quality. and then maybe put it on a rack. Since these are samplers, I'm not gonna worry about that. I am gonna take the paper towel out from under it, and I'll just let them sit just to see how they do throughout the day. It's 12:24 right now. I have everything done, and let's just open this baby up. See how she does. Come on. Come on, my sweet. Okay. Let's see. I like the greenness. It feels good. This is a great size. Whatever size this was, I could measure it at some point. Okay, first bite is for you. All right. Whatever I did, I have to do this again. They're perfect. Okay, the time has come. All right, this is the finale. My daughter's hovering and irritated that I'm even doing this. But here it is, the finished falafel. So it has some pickled onions, some hummus, some feta, some tzatziki. I cut one of the falafel in half. That's my grandson. He's running with a cat toy for Judith. All right, that's it. I can't talk anymore, but there she is, all done. Okay, time for my daughter to get her grub on.